Let me close the door.
Okay.
They don't
We
pay me.
are definite. No, we're live. We're live. So, welcome back, everyone, to We Are Black Independence. I am Jeanette Bradley, and I am here with Mona.
Mona Judge, welcome. Happy Sunday, Jeanette.
Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. Restful Sunday for you.
Very. I had a full day yesterday, so
Hmm.
I'm entitled to have that every now and then.
Every once in a while, you got to listen to the body.
Yeah, yeah, that's what it was. And
Hmm.
I obey my body. All right, what we got tonight?
So tonight we are doing something we don't get to do so often. We're putting together an incumbent and
Mhm.
a challenger back to back, same seat, same questions, so you can hear the contrast for yourselves.
It is something that we do like to do, but it doesn't
Yes.
always happen that way.
Doesn't always happen that way. So we have Hillsborough County Commission District 3. The incumbent is Commissioner Gwen Myers, and her challenger is Twanda Bradley. Two separate interviews, one seat, and a community that deserves to see both of them answer what we consider the hard questions. So,
Pull your records, bring your receipts. Let's get into it.
let's get
To the
into
Black
it.
Independent, where we speak truth to power, unapologetically.
For too long, the black vote has been treated like a given, but we're not property. We're not pawns. We are the descendants of those who built this nation. And now, we're demanding tangibles, not tokenism, because the era of blind loyalty is over. This is the Black Independent. Let's get to work.
Let's get to work, Mona.
Let's get to work.
Well, before we actually bring the candidates in, let's ground the audience a little bit. So, District 3, to the audience, is a single member seat, and that's whoever holds that seat has to actually live in the district. Did you know that, Mona?
Yes, I knew
All
that.
right, so I want to make sure, because I remember somebody asked us before that a lot of people don't really have an understanding of the seats and what that means. So when they're out there voting, they're not really quite sure what they're voting for.
Mhm.
So let me back up a little bit. So, and it's district's own voters, not the whole county. It's they who decide the race, just those in that district.
Which is, a very unique district, and I'm sure ours is probably more unique than most single district because from the time that this seat has became a black seat, Jeanette, and
Mm.
probably 85, somewhere like that,
Mm-hmm.
the majority of the people in that district have know the candidates. We actually know our candidates.
That's
So this
true.
so this seat really has real history. Gwen Myers have held it since 2020, and before her it was Les Miller. Everybody knew, and before Miller it was Kevin White, who
I remember
everyone
these people.
yeah, who everyone knew, and going back further, I believe when I first came on, really started Reuben Pageant. I remember working on his campaign,
Ah, yes.
and because he became the county first black commissioner in this same seat in
Hmm.
1985. You remember that?
I do. I,
Yeah,
I I can actually see Commissioner Paget in my mind's eye.
because you remember
I remember him.
Pageant Nursing Home. My mom them
I do.
um, used to volunteer there. Our shop, we used to go there and do the um, the people here, and that
Hmm.
was the way that we gave back. And I would go over and do cuts and shampoos and stuff like that.
Oh,
And it's really how I really started with his campaign too.
okay.
So District 3 has been held by a black commissioner almost continuously since then, and we're going to keep it that way. I'm sorry. And right now, Myers is the only Black member on this 7-person commission, and we have to keep that like that. We have to have. I want to see representation on city council, on county commission. I and I don't only want to see one, but
Yeah, I was going to say, I'd like to see it expand, actually,
absolutely.
beyond one. Okay.
But we definitely have to always have one. And this is the anchor of the Black political seat on the commission. So
Yeah, I like that qualifier to this is the anchor seat, and that Black voters, you got to pay attention. This is a seat that we would like to maintain. So this, and it covers a heavily Democratic stretch of the county, a large footprint inside the city of Tampa itself, running into eastern Hillsborough. This is a seat where county decisions on transportation, affordable housing, and economic development land directly on our community, block by block, folks. So I just want you to just take hold of that anchor seat framing. This is an important seat for the Black community. And Myers, as being the only Black commission on the seat at this point, and that what she needs is for the community, what this seat needs is for the community to come out in full force for whichever candidate prevails. So I want you to think about this for a minute. In 2020, the general election, that's the last time it was actually contested, and that's where Commissioner Myers won the seat. And there were some 100,022 total votes cast, and she got 72% of that vote. So that tells you that it is a highly Democrat district that we can influence people. So in 2022, Commissioner Myers ran unopposed. But this year, as we said, we have a challenger. So tonight, that is our focus tonight, that we are going to let you hear from the two candidates. And as we like to say, you decide.
So let's say it plainly for the audience. 6 years, Jeanette, 6 years without a real choice on this ballot line, right? That's exactly why we treat a contestant race like this one as a moment and not a formality, right? So,
So the Black vote, folks, we like to say this a lot. It's not a gift. It's a negotiation. So tonight, both candidates negotiate with you directly. So Mona, we're going to bring in our first guest.
all right.
You ready? Hey, Twanda.
Good evening, ladies. How are you?
We are
Good.
well.
Joining us tonight is Tawanda Bradley, challenging for District 3 seat. Tawanda, welcome to Wadley.
Thank you for the invite. I'm so glad that you all extended the invitation to me, and I'm excited about being here.
Very, very nice. So before we get into questions, let's give the audience a little bit of grounding on who you are exactly. So Twanda Bradley, and we are not related, by the way. I thought I would say that. We've been saying that all of our lives, haven't we?
We haven't researched it, but as far as we know, we are not related.
Well, I've done DNA. I've done the research, and
Okay.
definitely you have not come up in those family lines, but because we have we favor each other, I will say that, and we have the same last names. But Twanda Bradley was born in District 3 with deep generational ties to Progress Village, Tampa's first affordable housing suburb, built by and for Black families starting in 1960. Her campaign says she's called Temple Terrace home for the last 40 years. So she's put her roots down on both ends of the district. She spent over 30 years in the IT industry before leaving the corporate world to work full time in the community. She's now a property investor and small landlord, and she frames that directly as business experience she wants to put to work for the residents. She currently serves as president of Progress Village Civic Council. And in 2024, she led community response efforts after Hurricane Milton flooded the neighborhood. I remember that. Pushing the county for the drainage fixes residents had been asking for years, Mona.
Mhm. Well, she is also the founder of Grow My Giving, the nonprofit behind the boutique. I like that saying. That was very different. Like boutique is boutique. A free, dignified center, fresh food market that becomes one of the only walkable food access point in Progress Village. I like that too. On our platform, she's laid out particularly on affordable housing, economic opportunities, infrastructure. So we're going to hold her to those topics tonight, not just the headlines.
All right, so let's get into the first question.
Okay.
Twanda, what makes you believe you're qualified to hold this seat, and what in your record backs that up?
So the question is what I believe that qualifies me and what backs it up. I'm qualified, first of all, as you already said. I have a sense of pride and confidence in the community. Been in District 3 for a very long time. What helps me to be qualified is my background. I started in I'm just refreshing a lot of your bio, being in IT and what I've done, taking those business aspects and placing them into the leadership role of a commissioner makes it very, very important. Hands-on experience with the community in there, working things from, and I hate to repeat what you just already read about me, but pretty much that's what it is. Being hands-on in there, looking at infrastructure, working with the community when they have direct needs. It's not just Progress Village. It's not just food. It's not just infrastructure. It's many other things. And so because I have the ability and the desire and have proven that I have direct connect with the community beyond Progress Village and in Progress Village, that makes me more qualified.
So let me ask you to name something outside of what we've already asked. We know, I think the majority of the people will know what you did with the flood and with your boutique. But name something else you have done for the community that the people might not know of.
Well, I'll give you an example just right now. So I'm still in District 3. I'm not in Progress Village nor Temple Terrace. I'm in the heart of Tampa right now of District 3, the southern part. Just recently, been working with the commissioner, county, let's get it right, city councilwoman, Naya Young's office. Out while I was canvassing, found out I had an individual that had issues with her home, that she had gotten some repairs done by the city. Long story short, there was some failure in the process. She was distraught, didn't know what to do. And so I've been walking with her just yesterday, speaking with her office, with Naya's councilwoman Young's office in settling her problem. So it doesn't stop just in those things. It's even the one-on-ones in the community, for whatever the need is, utilizing my experience and my exposure to help solve problems.
Okay, thank you for that.
Thank you.
If you win, will you continue what Gwen has already put in motion, or are you planning to go a different direction and be specific about what you would do?
Okay. First of all, I believe a strong leader is a leader that first don't walk in looking for change, but knowing what's in place. And so looking at what she has in place, the system behind it, and making sure that it is working, moving forward. Anywhere that there's some stagnation or not being moved, then of course I will look to see how can I change those things to hopefully keep what the original thought, idea, project, keep it moving forward. I don't look to walk into change things, but see where things are and how do I make it move forward so that the people in District 3 are receiving what they expect and what they deserve.
Okay, thank you. Jeanette?
So question 3, what's the first thing you change about how District 3 has been represented? What would you change in
What would I
terms of?
change? I would change the communication. Again, with the experience, just in the position I am in Progress Village, that's just one area, but also in my canvassing and other things that I've been doing in the Riverview area and what have you. What I've learned is communication is powerful. And in the community I am now, people don't know. So one of the things I would change, the incumbent has a once a year town hall meeting that she does throughout the District 3. And I feel that the people need it and have benefited from it. But what I also see, once that meeting's over, the communication is not there. What I will do is continue doing what I do today. I'm out in the community. I'm already walking and knocking on doors. My policy, I lived the corporate world for a long time, and it's the open door policy. We hear that in corporate world. We hear that in the government. My open door is walking and knocking on your door. So that's one of the things I would change. I would make sure that there's more direct connect with the community communities and neighborhoods on an ongoing basis. By doing it.
I'm going to push back on that one a little because I do know, and I like whatever, but the commissioner do have, I think, if not quarterly, can't remember how often, but she has town hall meetings all the time. And sometimes what I think we need to do, because the information is there, but I do understand as African Americans, fairly immature voters. We just start voting in the 60s. And so I try to give us a little grace. But we got to move past that grace and take a little bit of responsibility ourselves, because it is a lot of information out there.
If I can speak, I agree. And just a small correction, she does do it throughout the year. It's quarterly because she's hitting all areas, and it's a long district. So it's still to the average resident is once a year to them because it's in their area. It's very difficult. It's a 6:00 meeting, and that's why she places it in the specific areas and covering, making sure individuals can get there locally. Of course, yes, it's open to them to go across town, but that's always difficult too. So
and another thing that we need to do, I know you do this in Progress Village, your neighborhood association.
Well,
because
and that's what I want to
live in those neighborhoods. You got to go to your neighborhood president. The president go to the county commission and get these things working together. All right,
you're right.
The next question. Yeah, thank you. Where do you stand on this? Where do you stand on economic development, like business growth, housing, and generational wealth in the district?
Well, I believe in it. That's one of the things that I stand strong on. Economic growth is needed, and it's part of my platform, especially when it comes to small businesses, where we have a lot of black individuals, entrepreneurs that need support. So I do stand very tall on that. One of the things I do know that there are some courses out there that the county has that is free, but want to make it a little more global. Another thing that's very challenging, many of the black businesses, and small, I'm going to just use the word small, black as well. It's very difficult because they're trying to keep their doors open. So getting to meetings don't mean that they can't, or getting to courses don't mean that they can't. It's a little challenging, especially when they are not stretched. District 3 starts the north side of Sun City. So blacks are there. Blacks are traveling all the way down to Bears. But the classes that are there, the help that's there is in the center, still making it a little challenging. So putting satellite places to make it a little more easier to stretch that help throughout the total District 3. As far as economic wealth, one of the major things that I would like to put in place is making sure that we have sessions where individuals can learn more about the importance of their homes, because it starts there. When it comes to POAs, all these things that attach, and the importance of, because so many of our Blacks are losing their homes. They're losing their homes, which is part of generational wealth. But teaching them the importance of, my mom taught me, but I'm learning many people have not taught. And so creating those areas, going to those individual not town hall meetings, but the HOA meetings. You follow me, the smaller, and then also stretching beyond that, because a lot of our Black neighborhoods do not have association. They don't have what Progress Village have. They don't have what Claremont has, because Claremont and Palm River's together. They don't have it. So strategizing how to pull them down, helping them bring these together. You better believe it. You better believe it. Bringing them together. Yes,
I like that.
All right, so let me just ask on that same line. I see a lot in your platform, the sort of the workforce to job placement, pipeline, small business, micro grants, and those type things. You need other commissioners who are going to agree with putting such policies in place. That's not an easy task. How do you propose getting other commissioners on board with your economic vision?
Well, it's challenging. You all said it before. It's only 2 Democrats on the poll right now, right? And so it's a little challenging. One thing I can tell you, I've already started creating that space. I started that years ago with all of the commissioners. And in addition to that, making sure that I connect strongly with those that are county-wide, because that is strong as well, getting that support. So I will continue working on, granted, we know there are 3 positions coming, so there's a possible 2 new ones that I may not have met yet, right, for that's in this voting session. So establishing relationship with the new that's coming in, and maintaining the ones that I have, that's key from the beginning. And then making sure that I explain to them from what I see and I feel the needs of the community, not starting it at when there's an issue, but making sure that that's a strong forefront when I step into that position. This is what I look to have. This is what I need your support. And I'm standing strong with the needs of the community.
Okay, thank you. So if the election doesn't go your way, does the community still see you? And what does your role in District 3 look like after this race, win or lose?
I'm excited about that question. Win or lose, I'll continue living my life like I have lived it. What I mean about that is I'm already in the communities, already giving, already helping, already at the doors. That's a given. So I'll continue that. At the end, if on the other side of this, if I win, then that just gives me a larger platform and more support that can get me get the resolutions, because I'm a driven person based on my background as a project manager and getting results for the communities. That gives me a bigger platform and pushes it a little faster. If it's not a favorable turnout for me, I still will go out. I am exiting out of my role as the president of Progress Village. That was already a given before I came into the election, which it allowed me, because I already knew I need to expand myself beyond the central part of the district. It will allow me to do more on the north side as well as the south side of the district. Just being more involved and connecting with the commissioners across the board and any other leading positions within the communities to make things happen for the people.
So you would be interested, let's say you do not prevail, and I'm not saying that one way or the other, you would still have a goal of potentially running for seat at some other time.
Yes, I would. Yes, I would. Yes, I would. I'll keep working, and then I'll go back when time comes. We'll see what other opportunities may be there, whether it's District 3, countywide, or something just totally off from the county.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Jeanette, the next question, and I'm just looking at it. It's hypothetical, and I don't really like those kind because I don't know how we could truly. Do you want to answer that one?
Let's give it a try. We're going to try a hypothetical on you. So, Commissioner Myers voted yes on the Rays Stadium. close to 800 million in county money going forward, on a ballpark that isn't even in District 3. What's your position? So whether you got to vote or not, we all have opinions about it. Is this a good deal for your constituents? And if you'd been sitting on the commission, would you have voted for or against?
If I had been sitting on the commission at that time, um, based on what's shared, because for me right now, I didn't hear enough. And of course, I was looking at it on outside, right? Didn't hear enough. I would have been campaigning to get here and receive more from the raised themselves. That would have been very challenging. I just feel and still feel that more can be there. One of my biggest concern is how will that impact us in a positive way, District 3. I would need to hear how more jobs will be given to those that are in District 3. How can some of the funding and some of the benefits, not just on the build of the stadium, because that's a short time frame, but an ongoing benefactor for the district moving forward as they build and move forward. So if I voted yes, it would be tingent on those things, seeing how dollars could support and or not take away from District 3. Because right now it's a blank. It's Hillsborough County and the taxes across Hillsborough County. What specific can we do with District 3, especially those that are already low in income? How can we avoid impacting them greatly? And how can we put money back into the pockets? But economics is very important. Are there jobs that we can train them in, hire them, and then the benefactors beyond the bill? That's huge, because that's years after years, and we'll be looking to keep putting money in it. How do we make sure money goes back to District 3? That's how I would have adjusted it. So I would have been more on the front end of it, asking a lot of questions, more questions that were asked.
Okay, so all right. Well, thank you for that response. We're going to go to a question from the Mona. Do you see the questions, and can you pull? All right, here we go. So our first question from Fly Girl Approved, Ms. Zakia Donaldson. What is her stance on education? How students will be equipped to compete in the new digital world being anchored by STEM and AI?
Education. So education, as we know, just putting it out there that commissioners have very little impact, but still impact into the education because we have the school board itself. I'm very, very, very in tune with the education in the sense that at one time, up until this year, my nonprofit, Grow My Giving, actually had a STEM program. And so I've already been working on it, making sure that students, at least during the summer, will make sure that they are in program, that programs exist, and that funding is placed to those organizations that seek students who want to learn more about STEM. And actually, I like, if it's okay with the listener, I would also add art in there too, so that we're getting a grasp all the way across the board for our students.
Yeah, I'm all for that. But
yeah, because they have to know. And a quick story. I was exposed to art, not as great as you are, Jeanette, but in high school. And where it put my mind when I did go to college, when I went to HCC, that was a course I had to take because it opened my mind. And as I've traveled in different places, I see the world a little different. So if we add art with the STEM, our kids are more rounded, I feel, as they become adults.
So let me ask you this. The commissioners all have, I don't know what they would call it, maybe a slush fund that they donate to their personal things. And you will be inclined to donate to these different organizations, nonprofits.
Nonprofit. So one thing, as we know, the nonprofit is being cut, has been cut drastically. So 2027, I don't know. The way it looks today is not existing. That's something I will walk in, working hard to have it come back and making sure that we have equal amount of money that was already there, if not more. And the reason for it is because I believe, I know, uh, when it comes to the nonprofit, they are the conduit
Sure.
from the source to the community. They make
Mhm.
it happen if you're choosing the right ones. So
Yeah.
I would make sure when I'm looking across it, definitely areas for our students, our children, throughout the year, not just the summer. Summer is great, but they need it throughout the year because then we're making
Yeah.
them more rounded and it helps them in school. It helps them after school. I will be looking into that. Different nonprofits that focus on there. I will focus on nonprofits that put food on the table. Those are two major things because they touch the children. And our children, if we invest in our children today, we'll have better citizens, stronger adults, greater parents.
Last question from the audience. Is that,
So
is that a
comment.
question?
This is a comment, but I'd like you to comment on this comment. Fix this block. I would love more community listening opportunities. What?
Oh, there, vote Twanda Bradley August 18th, and you have that. Because as I said, stated before, I know that there's once a year in different quarters that my incumbent that has incumbent guys. But for me, I'm constantly would be constantly developing those. A vision I have and that I would put in place, it would be a north, south, east, and west communication line directly to the commissioner, where we are making sure that we have more smaller meetings with collective groups that you can have more voice. One of the major things that I do is I am a strong listener. And not only do I listen, I listen as a project manager. You have to hear what is not being said and what's being said. So I hear what you said, and I have the passion to make sure what I hear put it to action the best that I can. And
Right. So
so
the,
I'll
Thank,
develop those opportunities.
right.
thank you
So
so much.
last question. What do you want people to walk away understanding about you? Anything that we've not discussed that you want to make sure they know? Um, Separate from the outcome of this election, what do you want them to know? And be sure to also let them know how they can reach you to volunteer or donate.
Okay. What I want you to know is I am a true servant. And that's just not a words. That's who I am. I've been in the community for a very long time. I was leading, volunteering, giving before the election time. So what I want you to know as your commissioner, vote for me August 18th. When you vote for me, if I'm in that seat, believe me, I will do the work for you. Your voice must be heard. You can do that if you to help get me in that seat. Please go to my website, vote www.vote Twanda Bradley District 3. Very easy. Vote Twanda Bradley District 3.com. There you have an opportunity that if you want to volunteer, you can do so. I would love for you to call me directly. It does not have to be anything about the candidacy. If you need any type of help, any kind of information, I'll do all I can to do that. And you can call me directly at 813-928-3742.
We'll
And
put
if you
that
want to
information
donate,
in.
you know,
Can you give us? Do you have any social media handles like Facebook and
yes, all our Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, and they're all Twanda. Let's see, it's Vote Twanda Bradley. Vote
All right.
Twanda Bradley.
We'll make sure that we put that on our Facebook page so that folks know how to reach you when we post. All
I would
right.
love to hear from you.
Well, thank you, Tawanda Bradley. We certainly appreciate you sitting down with us and taking these questions straight on. Okay. Thank you for your time tonight. Good luck.
Thank you, ladies. Stay safe.
All right. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Wow, that was good.
Yes, I think it was. I think it was. And thank you to the audience for your questions. This is your opportunity to speak directly to the candidates and ask them the hard questions. So.
Mhm. So when we come back, we're going to put the same standards in front of the incumbent, Commissioner Gwen Myers. Don't go anywhere. We're going to go to our first commercial break. These people do spend a little money with us, Jeanette.
Realize it or not, Chroma Elite Paint understands that. They're a Tampa-based, women-owned brand bringing together interior design and personal style, from your walls to your nails, because it's all connected. If you're ready to elevate your space and your look, tap in with Chroma Elite Color Specialists. Visit chromaelitepaint.com or call 813-841-9462.
All right, welcome back. Same seat, same standard, folks. Now we bring in the incumbent, District 3, Commissioner Gwen Myers. Commissioner, thank you so much for joining us. Do you have her?
I don't see her.
That.
Oh, I see her. What's the backstage?
Okay. I see her, but we don't see her. So let's give her some time. We're going to give her a few minutes. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and give the candidates background. So same grounding for our audience before we get into it. Gwen Myers is a West Tampa native and lifelong Hillsborough County resident. She holds a bachelor's degree in business administration and accounting from Florida A&M University. And before ever running for office, she spent 25 years, y'all, inside Hillsborough County government from 1988 until 2013. She was working in the housing and community development and health and social services departments. So
very interesting. She's very knowledgeable.
Very, very much so. So Commissioner Myers is a first-time elected official herself. As I mentioned earlier, in 2020 was her first run for absolutely anything. She won a crowded 5-way Democratic primary by just 227 votes over former Tampa City Council member Thomas Scott, then won the general election that November with just over 72% of the vote. She ran unopposed in 2022, as we noted earlier. So since taking office, she's chaired the county's Environmental Protection Commission. She serves on the Salvation Army Advisory Council, and her signature initiative has been championing the Tampa Bay African American Arts and Cultural Center, a planned 2-story, 50,000 square foot facility on North Rome Avenue in West Tampa, with a total project cost around $30 million and a $16 million private fundraising goal. The county approved a naming rights plan for this past November. We'll get an update on where that stands later in this segment. Her campaign theme is very simple. It's about the people. It's about the people. Yes, yes. So we can, do we bring her in?
I take it down and see where she's at.
Yeah. I'm thinking she just popped in. I just heard the pop sound.
Okay. She had to read. Okay, there she is.
Because I had this one.
Hi.
Welcome, Commissioner.
I'm watching you. I'm watching you backstage the whole time, and then you were gone.
No, I was here the whole time.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
It was just the camera was off.
All right. So we have you on 2 cameras right now, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to get off the other one.
Okay.
She can stay on both. You're good.
All right.
Okay.
All right. So Commissioner Myers, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We are going to get right into the questions. Is that all right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so you've now had time in this seat. What's the one thing your constituents can point to and say, Commissioner Myers or Gwen delivered on this with real numbers or outcomes attached, not just intentions?
First, let me thank you all for having me this afternoon. The one thing that the people of District 3 can say that is very important to them, that is in Progress Village, Orient Park, Winston Park, Kinley Park. All of my splash pads now, all of my parks now have a splash pad. That is the one thing the people of District 3 did not have when I came into office in 2020.
I'm
Wow.
going to follow up on that, Jeanette, because it's interesting. I'm not going to tell you the whole story, but my niece called me. She lives in Progress
Uh-huh.
Village. And she called me, I think, either Thursday or Friday. I was leaving to go to work. And she was actually asking me about Quentin, and I told her that he had pulled out. And she asked me who else was in. She's 32, not that interested. They just vote however I tell them. And I told her, and she says, "Oh yeah, well, what I do like about the commissioner, and you happen to say this, she just had a baby, and they love the splash pad. And actually, she named three things I can't remember, but I do know because we have videos of her at the park with the our new nephew. He's 1 year old, and she just noticed that. So great question. We're gonna move on to the
Direct impact on the people when you put things like that, especially given the weather.
mhm.
So, splash
And I
pad.
think that's
Okay.
what it is. The people have to see. We want to see. I'm a visual person. I like to say, show me what you've done. I want to touch, and not show me. I should already see it. So that
Hmm.
was that's good. Thank you.
All
So,
right.
Commissioner, the next question. Tell us the biggest promise from your first term that you haven't been able to keep yet, and what is standing in your way.
Thank you for that
If
question.
it's
One
anything.
of no, one of the things would be the African American Art and Culture Center.
Mhm.
I started that in my first term. To date, we raised $28 million. We have another 10 million to go before we can break ground on that. So I plan to achieve that during my next term.
So, what do you think is standing in your way with that, if
But just
anything?
raising money, the nonprofit was blessed to receive $4,895,000
Hear
from the governor budget, and so we
that?
still have a few more dollars to raise. I'm working it right now as we speak
Mhm.
with corporations. My ask is $1 million, so I
Mhm.
asked them to commit that over a 10-year period.
Okay. And
All
I
right.
think sometimes, particularly after this president got in office, cutting all our stuff, I know I'm a donor to the museum in Washington. We ourselves have to be able to participate and fund some of. Now we know we can't do what we. I give $50 a year to that
Hmm.
organization, but if you think about it, if all of us could give $50, it could keep it afloat. And I think I'm very impressed with this museum coming here to Tampa. So have you reached out to the community to say maybe I know you just had a
We just had our first major fundraiser where we raised over $200,000. We net for that, and so we reached out to the community. We will continue to reach out to the community as where they can buy bricks and everything else once we
That's
get that
great.
all lined up. That they can buy a paver
yep,
in
yeah,
memory of their loved ones, their name, whomever in the family. So that's
yeah.
how we plan to get the community involved, as well as however they would like to support the African American Art and Culture Center.
Yeah, I love that idea. So, next
Mhm.
question. If you win another term, walk us through what the next 4 years actually looks like. What are the three specific things you're committing to get done? And I know you've already mentioned one with the museum. And how will the community measure whether you did it?
Well, it's going to be challenging. Okay, we have an issue. We have a couple of issues on the ballot on November 3rd. So we have to see how the voters will vote on the property taxes as one, because we don't know what services that might be cut going in the next 4 years. if that would be very devastating to our county. And so I don't want to make a commitment that I can do this, that, or the other, and not knowing how that's going to be, whether that would pass or not. I'm not supporting passing the property taxes as one. In 2024, I championed the community investment tax to be on the ballot in Hillsborough County. That will give us the CIT dollars that we need to fix our infrastructure projects. We have a backlog of projects in the county now. Those funds won't kick in until December 1st of 2026. But a lot lies on November 3rd on the property taxes being on the ballot.
Yeah, that is a very important, I think, obstacle if in fact that if that happens. But I do want to ask you, since you mentioned it about the CIT,
Hmm.
um, aren't we looking at potentially some of those CIT dollars going toward the stadium?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Was there an issue around that, that it was not, those dollars were not meant for things like the stadium?
Let me correct that. In the 2024 community investment tax referendum, one of the items on the ballot in that section had public facility. What the raise has asked Hillsborough County to do was to fund a public facility. Yes, CIT dollars can be used for that facility. Matter of fact, I brought it back up in May because I received over 600 calls about
Mhm.
do not use the CIT money to support the raise. Well, when we voted in 2024, public facility was a part of that referendum. So the voters have already voted to use CIT dollars, which is public facilities. And keep in mind, Hillsborough County owns and we have to maintain Raymond James Stadium, the Lightning Stadium, the Reading Arena, and the History Center. Those are our facilities. It's just
So,
like our homes.
so
Go
they're
ahead.
also designated, I'm sorry to cut you off, but those are also designated as public facilities.
Yes.
Okay. All
And
right.
so the race stadium will be too. But so I'm thinking, and I was somewhere where you did explain this because I was like, no, we didn't vote for that because I remember uh, what that was, and maybe we did not understand. And it's in these bills, we really need to understand what's all in it and what it entails because I wasn't aware that these facilities was public um, things. I'm thinking of just the parks and things that the city particularly owns outright because we don't really own, and I don't think the people would have known when we have these kind of things. Could you put something in that referendum and saying we want to exclude, say, like a stadium? Can that happen?
if if the commissioners, if the 7 county commissioners vote to put that language in there, we
Right.
did discuss it,
Yeah.
but it was never a
Hmm.
motion made to exclude it. You have to make a
Because I
motion,
think.
and so if the motion doesn't pass, so that
Mhm.
passed with public facilities. And
Right.
matter of fact,
And
when
I
Ray
think the
J
people.
was first built, the
Mhm.
first time it was on the referendum, it did not pass.
Right.
Commissioner Joe Trelure brought it back and included the stadium and bringing a football team to Tampa. Everybody voted overwhelming because we wanted a football team here in Tampa. That's how
Right.
the first CIT tax got passed, including a public facility.
Yeah. So, but I think the people now, and not all, because I see where this is split 50-50, right? And we have to go with what you guys, because you're getting all the information, so we have to be able to trust the people we put in office. But I think now we don't want to pay for billionaires ballparks anymore. So that is something how we'll have to look moving forward. All
Well,
right.
let me just share that we're not paying for a billionaire ballpark because the return on investment back to Hillsborough County is going to far exceed the dollar amount we invest in if if the Rays come here to Tampa.
Mhm.
So think about the economic impact over a 30-year period. I just even the first 5 years of what the county's revenue is going to be, it would be so substantial to us as a county in 5 years, the first 5 years.
Okay. Um,
Oh,
Next question. District 3 has real economic disparity. What is your concentrated plan, and what has been your concentrated plan to move the needle of Black homeownership, business development, and generational wealth building in your next term?
Well, let me say this. In District 3, we have housing.
Mm-hmm,
At every 2 weeks on the Board of County Commissioner, we are approving housing. One of the things we have to do is to continue to educate where they can come into the county, into our affordable housing program, and see how they qualify. Because
mm-hmm,
everything is on a qualifying basis, okay?
mhm.
And see
mm-hmm,
how they qualify. We have the information available for individuals who wants to own a home here in Hillsborough County. When we're talking about generational wealth, I think of individual wealth. It starts with us. And I share the same impact with my county staff. Every time you get a raise, you don't have to go and buy a new car, get this, that, or the other. Put it in your 457 plan. It
mm-hmm,
starts with you. How do you want to have some money when you retire that you don't have to go and look for a second job? That you can live off the money that you have saved because you can match those dollars through our 457 plan. That's in government. In corporate America, they call it something else. I can't think of the plan right now. And then when we're looking at economics, there are a lot of companies have moved into District 3, feeding Tampa Bay, Coke, Florida. Just name those two large companies that
mm-hmm.
have done tremendous hiring in the district. Okay, just in the district alone. And I
Okay.
attend these ribbon cuttings and I'm there. And when people contact me about jobs, they get on these companies to work. So we talk about it. I share it in my newsletter. That's one of the things I do every 2 weeks, except this month I'm on vacation. Newsletter on vacation this month. But we put in there where there are jobs where people can go and apply. Um, Throughout the city or county when we hear jobs opportunities. And that's what I would like to see the people of District 3 be more of aggressive and go seek jobs. We put in a lot of summer programs last year for our youth, okay? And
Mm-hmm,
that's one of the things. The Children Board, I'm Secretary Treasurer at the Children's Board. We
Mhm.
put in summer slots so that our children would not be on the streets.
yeah.
Okay, it didn't give them a job, but it gave them a place to go to. Same at the skills center. The
Mm-hmm,
skills center was open from 6:30 to 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. That gave them a place to go. And so
mm-hmm.
we have to look at other things, how we balance in the district to make our youth, who are future leaders, as I always refer them to, have a place and a space that they can go and enjoy themselves.
Um, so I'm looking at the comments, and quite a bit of people are liking information on the bricks. They want a brick in the museum, so
Good.
that's gonna be a win. I'm seeing that a couple of times in the comments.
Thank you.
Um, Next
So
question.
are you're bringing up comments? It's important.
No,
Okay.
no, I'm just highlighting some. You can answer the next question.
All right. No problem. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So, Commissioner Myers, who has access to you between now and the next election? When a resident in District 3 calls your office with a problem, what actually happens?
Thank you so much for that question. When a citizen, a constituent called my office, my staff, and depending on what they're calling, because we have to refer it out to a department, okay, unless it's something we can just handle right there in the office. My staff has 72 hours to respond back to that constituent and copy me on what they're going to do. Keep in mind, we have 6 other commissioners who also receive calls from their constituents of the county as well. And so that's how we respond back to them, knowing that it's a resolved issue, and my aides, Wanda West and Robbie Smith, follow up back with them.
That's a good turnaround, 72 hours.
That is a good
Yes.
turnaround, but I will say when I reached out to you, whether that was email or by call, I was pleasantly surprised that you responded as quickly as you did, but to correct me to say, use this number instead of that number or that address. I was very impressed with the very fast turnaround with you getting back
Here's
to me.
why. A lot of people sometimes want to call me on my personal
Person
cell
phone.
phone, and it's the county that I'm trying to get that transition to,
Mhm, mhm.
because if you want to schedule me, it is through my office. I don't
Yeah,
keep my calendar except for hair appointments, doctor's appointments. That's it.
yeah,
That's something with my family. But I
but you
would
didn't ignore.
certainly
Yeah,
direct for future. Please contact my office. We can schedule. If I'm free, my aide can tell you
yeah,
right then and there whether I can attend or I cannot attend if I have another commitment.
yeah. But
I really believe in being responsible
that's it.
to my constituents. They voted for me to get elected, and I want to respond to them as quickly as possible. Now, sometime when it's a board meeting week, I might cannot get to them to Thursday, between Thursday and Sunday. Okay. I make calls on Sundays and I let them know it's been a busy week. I apologize. I couldn't get to you any earlier, but I'm here now. And how can I help you?
Hmm. Yeah, I got the feeling that you were very responsive um, to your constituents when you moved as quickly as you did.
Well, let me
All
say
right.
this. I have never left my constituents since 2019, since I started running for the seat. I've remained out there in the community ever since then.
I'm
Okay.
sure because I'm trying to think. The one time I needed to call you was during the hurricane, and I don't know. I did call you. You said, "Hey, you had someone call me back," and I was just shocked. So it did happen really, really quick. So I think you're doing a good job. Jeanette, we're gonna bring in a few of the comments. Did you have another question for the commissioner
Um,
for the
we
comment?
would go with the raise, but I think you've answered enough on the raise, so I think we're good. Um, yes, we're good. Go ahead.
Do you want to say anything else on the race, Commissioner?
We're waiting right now on the raise for an agreement to come to us, the Board of County Commissioners. As you all know, the last vote we taken was with the memorandum of understanding, the MOU, to come back to us. And so I don't know if we will receive something this summer or the fall in the way of an agreement on the raise. So people, I try to keep everyone informed and all. And on the raise, I've had them to hold two town hall meetings in my district, one at Jefferson High School and the other one's at the Skills Center, because I wanted the community to come out and ask any question they wanted to ask the raise.
Hmm.
And we'll have more once we can get a contract signed, if and when. If not, we won't have any more meetings. But I'd like to keep District 3 informed. That's
So
how I keep my district informed.
are you pleased with what you're hearing from um, the raise
I haven't
so
heard,
far?
we haven't heard that much. We're still at a stand off right now in between with the county, what they're asking for and what the county can do. We're not going to give away the whole county because we have our
Mm,
own infrastructure projects to do, what we
yeah.
promised the voters in 2024. And I'm going to stand firm
Mm,
on that. I made that clear to the raise. I made it clear to the county. In 2024, I championed that investment tax that also had at the time in there the raise for the teachers, in which certain commissioners did not support that. And also, when we just had Tober this year, we had one commissioner that did not sign our proclamation. And so these are the things that the community needs to know and be aware of when we're talking about, oh, let me work with all the countywide commissioners and all. No, you have to support the Black agenda. Toba has been
absolutely.
around for years.
Hmm.
Okay, we've had a proclamation at every Tober's
Yes.
event. And
By
when you
all
cannot
seven
sign
districts.
that,
Yeah.
Okay, you got to think about, do we really need you on the board of county commissioners?
Yeah.
Or if you also abusing the women, black and white, where you sit on the county commissioner, you need to ask yourself, why do you need to be sitting on there attacking black and white women, in particular the nonprofits? Okay, because
Mhm,
I rolled in majority in all of the black nonprofits.
mhm.
And who takes the hit? Me. But it's okay because the
Yeah.
county has never funded the non-black profits until I became a county commissioner. So it's okay. I
So,
understand and I know what my district needs.
right. So I was going to ask you, because your district has so many needs, your relationship with the other commissioners, how do you use that to get anything done? We mentioned to the the candidate before you that it seems like an uphill battle to get things done for District 3. How do you see that?
I don't see it at all because since I've been on the board, District 3 has prospered more than any other one or two.
And
It's
what do you
because I work
attribute that
across
to?
the aisle with the
Okay.
Republicans. Okay, you have to work across the aisle. It cannot always just be straight 100% Democrats. Right
So,
now, I sit with a 5-2 board. Okay,
Right.
in all of the projects, just last year, 5-2 board, there are 30 school pantries in my district, 30 of them.
hmm
I asked the Board of County Commissioners for $500,000 and I asked the Children's Board for $500,000. You know what? It was funded.
got
Just
it.
with the teens takeover last month, nope, May. I went to the Children's Board and asked for $45,000. I asked the county to match it with $45,000. Right now, today, in audience, understand what I'm saying. I'm sitting with the Republican board, but everything I present representing District 3, it get passed. It
And
gets
so,
passed. Why? I do
Jeanette,
my homework. I
Yeah.
understand. And I stress the importance of my district and why my little black kids need what they need. And that's how I said in the boardroom, ain't too proud to beg. You have to beg for what you want.
well,
Mm,
Jeanette,
it's
often,
homework.
I often have a problem that I say when that board was when the Democrats had the majority, and City Council, we have the majority and we don't see it moving. And I think that's a compliment, Commissioner 5-2, and we have been following it. You are getting stuff accomplished. Jeanette,
Thank
I'm
All
gonna
you.
right.
go
So
to
let
you.
me give a question. Are
You
you
got a
trying to
follow
get
up?
to the question?
I was.
I want to go with Fly Girl approved. Commissioner Myers has supported STEM exposure and the science of beauty with grant dollars. Her investment in the early stages of our programming has allowed us to impact thousands of students. HC. So
And
just
that's
want
great.
to.
And that's a part of the nonprofits that I fund. People come to me and ask me, not only people, not only blacks, white comes to me and asks, Commissioner, can you get this project passed? The YMCA out in Riverview needed $750,000. TGH Hospital wanted to build affordable housing for their staff out in for the part of Riverview. And then Grace Point over here, all in the same year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? It was about
Yep.
$3 to $4 million. You know what I did? I took it before the Board of County Commissioners. 5-2 board, and everyone got funded.
Mm,
5-2.
mhm.
So I can brag, but I don't brag. I just say it's about the people, and that's who I serve. It's the people of Hillsborough County. So I want everyone to understand I am officially retired from Hillsborough County government. I retired in 2013. So there's nothing in here for me. My check's at the bank every month.
Mm-hmm.
But for the people of District 3, I want District 3 to prosper like we have never prospered before.
All right. I want you to see the comments at least. Faith Woodard. I absolutely love her hands-on approach. Many times, what's needed is that somebody gets back to you. That is huge, and we can attest to that. So, and Fixes Block has Commissioner Myers already set her expectation for the small and local businesses. You have been pretty consistent with our businesses previously. Your
And
comment?
we'll continue.
Okay.
Nothing going to change. It's just another term going in and making sure that District 3 is represented very well.
Mona, I'm hearing a fighter. I don't know what you're hearing, but I'm hearing that fighter you like to talk about so much. Cindy Stewart says,
that's all I want is a fighter. I want people
Right.
to look out for our interests. I know she has everyone, but we are the title of.
so Commissioner.
Let me address this right here. They're
Independent
talking
as
about the
well.
Hillsborough County Healthcare Plan,
Like
about
All
the
right.
Hope Funds
everyone
restoring.
asked for our vote. Obviously,
First of all, there's no funds to cut on the Hillsborough County Healthcare Plan. Okay? Every time we make a purchase, a half a cent funds the Hillsborough County Healthcare Plan. So go out and buy a car tomorrow. I'm just joking. But because that's one of the next largest assets you can buy. We get a lot of sales tax. But anyway, the plan has been around for 35, 36 years. Okay? It is one of the best plans in our nation that is right here in Hillsborough County. People come from all over the world to see our plan because a half a cent fund when you can have primary care, specialty care, vision care, and dental. So if you all know anyone today that does not have health insurance, call 813-272-5040 to roll into Hillsborough County Healthcare Plan. Now, that's one
but
part of the question. The second part is on the Hope Fund. Okay? When the Democrats,
wait. Let me ask you. Hold on, Commissioner. Let me ask you something about the health care because, as you know, I own a beauty shop, so we get a lot of people, and I have to be. But that is really hard to get on a health care plan.
no,
Is
no,
it based off your income?
yes, everything is income eligible throughout the county and the
Right.
city.
Mhm.
But the plan is up to 175% of the medium income.
Mhm.
Okay, so they have to call to see how they qualify.
Okay.
You know, a lot of times we do all the talking. Well, I can't get on. You never call to qualify to see if you qualified. Because 2 years ago we carried the plan. We carried the plan up the eligibility to 175% of the
No,
medium income.
I think the feedback I'm getting, they make too much money. They made too much. They couldn't get it.
Well, it's income.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
it's based on income.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
The other thing was the Hope. Let me address the Hope. When the
Okay.
Democrats was in charge,
Back to
Hope
the
was
hook.
receiving $10 million every year. $10 million since 2019. I was in the board. I was running as a candidate when Les Miller, at then sitting commissioner Les Miller, made the motion to name it the Hope Funds. That was in 2019.
Mhm.
Since then, up until 2023, because we changed votes in 2022, that's when we lost Commissioner Overman and Smith. Republicans came on. In 2023, 2024, I made a recommendation with a led Republican Party to keep $2 million in there in year 2023 and 2024. Last year, 2025, we went to zero. It is a Republican led board. So Commissioner Corn or myself, we can bring it up, but we already know that's a 5-2 vote. It would fail
Right.
because
Right.
the Republicans don't want it.
Okay.
Okay? So if you want the Hope Funds, understand me, audience, you need to flip 2 seats, which are open right now on the Board of County Commission on November the 3rd. And you can have your Hope Funds back. But you got to flip 2 seats.
All right. She's giving you the charge, audience.
Just
You
giving you
got to
the-
flip 2 seats. You got to flip. And thank you, Sakia HC. I had a brain fart. Hillsborough County. All right. That's good. All right. So last question.
I don't think it's the last question, but Commissioner, before we let you go, we want to give the audience, we want you to give the audience an update on the African American Museum um, you're building, and we're looking forward to that. We all here think it's a great
Well,
initiative,
thank you.
and we want the community to know how they could get behind you.
Great. Yes, you can get behind us on the new African American Art and Culture Center that is going to be located at 2103 North Rome Avenue in West Tampa. We are going to demolish the Community Resource Center. The African American Art and Culture Center will sit on 6.5 acres. It would be in walking distance of the new West River that they extended on the west side now. You can walk from that. So you think about it. You can walk from the African American Art and Culture Center to the Strad Center to the History Center. So we're in a prime spot location in West Tampa. We sit on that acre. We have 5 schools. So we're already in partnership with the Hillsborough County School District. Matter of fact, we just passed the vote between the school superintendent and the BOCC. We're going to move our Head Start, which is a McLeod Head Start. They're going to be located now at the new Just. This is all my doing as a commissioner for District 3. See, I didn't want my little black kids to be uprooted and moved somewhere else. So the Lord gave me a vision one morning, and I had to meet with Superintendent Ayers and Chris Fockers on another project. And I brought to them, hey, what about if we can move our McLeod Head Start students over there at the new Just? And so they're building, that's going to be where our Head Start students are going to go over to Just. You have to have a vision, you have to have plans as a commissioner, and you got to see where and how you can benefit your community. It's not about me, but it's about the people that are served in District 3. So getting back to the African American Art and Culture Center, it is going to be a 53,000 square foot facility that is going to be housed right there at 2103. And how you can get engaged, you can probably go on our website now. I think it's African American Art and Culture Center.com, or either I'll get a message to you all how they can go on there and donate. But that's what we're planning to do, put some pavers out once we a way that you can contribute. If you want to buy a paver, if you want to give more than that to that, it's something that we all need to invest in this community. We don't have anything that we can really go gather to see the art ourselves, or bring in the artists to come in, a traveling exhibit. This is what this is all about. The vision came to me when President Biden won with my sorority sister Kamala. All the AKAs were calling that night, where we going to gather? We didn't have a place to gather.
Right.
And said, hey, we need our own space. So that's how the African American Art Culture Center, the board has voted unanimously where that's what going to be housed there on that site. So as soon as we raise this money, we are really planning. It's my desire to really try to break ground next year in the spring. When I tell you
Yeah,
I'm on the phone
that was gonna
now,
be the
like I
question.
said, my ass is $1 million. You know, when
Okay.
somebody asked me to help them with their nonprofit, I said I can't help you right now because I'm not looking for $5 to $10 to $20,000. I'm asking people for $1 million. So
Right.
that is my high priority right now.
Okay.
Right. You need a community garden in there somewhere with the schools. We used to do one at Just, and would love to attach to that project again with the community, engaged with the schools. Anyway, I just thought I'd throw that in there.
Nothing wrong with throwing. I hear everything that bounces and throws towards me. I listen.
Okay.
That's what I'm
Sounds
very good at,
Uh,
is listening to and see how I can address the needs of my constituents. Yes. It has been fun.
well.
I've enjoyed my
I
interview and just
thank
sharing
you.
information with the community.
Yes.
So
So I'll be doing video shorts of the entire thing. So I can tag you on if you give me the okay to do that on the
sure.
video shorts of your interview tonight. So I want to thank you so much for taking the time. We really appreciate you, and thank you.
Let's get it done. Oh, and also, by the way, I asked for your vote. I'm County Commissioner Gwen Myers, running for re-election to the Board of County Commissioner. This might either give me my 4 more years, it might give me 2. It depends on what you vote on the ballot, but I would say 4 is expanding the Board of County Commissioner. You need to vote no. You need to vote no for superintendent of appointed elected school superintendent. You need to vote no. You need to
Correct.
vote no on the property taxes. If you don't get anything else out of this conversation, you have 3 no's that you need to make sure when you get your ballot what you're voting for.
No, no, no.
I
Okay,
think
you
the
heard
people,
it right here.
are you, Commissioner, are you on Facebook? Do you have a
Yes.
Facebook page?
Yeah, it's votegwenmyers.com.
Okay.
Vote with a capital V, capital G, and a capital M. Votegwenmyers.com.
We'll put it on your on our page, and we'll put out when we put out our short. Commissioner, thank you so much for agreeing to join us tonight. Good
Thank
night.
you all. See you
Thank
around
you.
in the community.
You
Stay
bet.
safe now. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. You too.
Wow, Jeanette. That
All right. When you and I are on, we're usually on at the same time. You gonna take her down?
Then
I
you got
did.
to take it down.
I did. I got her. I got her.
That was good.
Yeah, I think both interviews were very good. To the audience, you have 2 choices. You can stay with Commissioner Myers, who will be seeking for a 3rd term, or you can decide you want something new. That's really going to be your call. So our job is to bring you the information and help you to be informed voters. Understand Tampa, understand District 3, and what the needs are, and then vote accordingly. So thank you.
But I do want to remind the audience, Jeanette, that we are going to put out a slate this Wednesday of very detailed. We came up with a rubric, some points, how we're going to grade them, and we run it through a system. I've done mine, Jeanette's done hers, was waiting to this interview. We'll have it all ready tomorrow, and we're going to put it out on Wednesday. We do
because I got my vote by mail, and I will be doing that as well tomorrow and getting that out in the mail. So we know that it's timely, and a lot of you are getting your vote by mail, that you need the information. So
a little like a cheat sheet if because a lot of people, it is a lot of research to do on these candidates, particularly not our incumbents. It's very easy to follow what they have done. I would say the commissioner gets a check. She's done what she said she was going to do. She's moving the needle. But when we have 2 new people, if somebody's retiring, it is just very important that we get somebody who's going to be able to hit the ground running. We just don't have time now, I believe, anymore for people to be learning the job.
Okay.
Because they ain't been in the community. Tawanda has been in the community doing different things, So we have picked these people on our particularly in the Black areas, on the Black seats, that don't have a clue.
Yeah, I think what's important about what I think I'm hearing you say is even, and this is why the question was very important for Twanda, even if you do not prevail, because there's always the dark horse that can come in there and unseat the incumbent. It has happened. It is happening these days. What will you do next? And what we as a more mature voting population could do is nurture the talent of the people that are running. And sometimes when you put your name in the hat, that's the attention that we need to give that attention to say, this person is interested. They did not prevail, but the talent, how do we help them down the line? How do we begin growing this base of candidates that could fulfill roles that could carry the agenda? I heard Commissioner Myers mention the Black agenda. How do we start building that cadre of interested candidates, not somebody who just thought about it, interested candidate that you can see over time that you can help nurture and raise money for and develop an agenda that these people will carry in the different roles.
And that's
what
how we do. No, you're right. That's how we definitely have to moving forward. But Jeanette, we got less than an hour. Well, we already said we're going to go through this next segment because
yeah.
it's really,
so let's do a commercial.
It's going to be really interesting for our audience. So, guys, please stay with us. We're going to go through one more commercial, and we're going to hit our next segment.
And off you go. At Ready, Set, Go Travel Agency, we specialize in all types of trips. Whether it's a family vacation, a girls' trip, or a quick getaway for two, we've got you covered. We take the stress out of planning and offer packages for all budgets so you can focus on what really matters, making memories. Let us plan your next adventure. Ready, Set, Go Travel Agency. So tell me, where in the world to next? Contact Lynette Judge at 813-644-2145 or ljudge1976@gmail.com to start planning today.
I love our supporters that do the commercials with us. It's I love that we can show their commercials every week. So,
and if you guys have anything that if you guys have anything you want advertised, reach out to us. It's very affordable. So we're going to toss into segment 3, Jeanette.
Mm-hmm.
So for our final segment tonight, we're going to do something a little different. No guest this time. Jeanette, you're going to talk directly to Jeanette. We're going to talk directly to you for a few minutes. And then I'm going to sit down, as I always do, and push back on her a little, the way I always do. I like when you do these Substacks. And guys, if you have not subscribed to our Substack, like Independent, when she put them out, I often say it could be like, oh, you're gonna have to say this to the audience because it takes me. I read it, then I read it again, and it sinks in. And this one just sunk in, and I said, you need to explain it a little bit more.
So we're done. We're not going to go forward with a candidate conversation. We're done with that for today. And I want really for us to be thinking more about us and how we think about the decisions that we make or even why we make them. So it's about a standard. It's a standard that we're all using, including me, including you out there in the audience. We all are actually basing decisions on a standard to judge, for example, who's fit to lead in the first place, right? There is a standard. I didn't say many standards. There is a standard that we are all using. And I want to play you can pull up my Substack. So as Mona said, a couple of weeks ago, I posted 2 pyramids side by side, right? And you should, and if you don't, you'll get to know me as one who says white's on the top and black's on the bottom. And that's a problem. So
it's not showing.
Huh?
The picture isn't showing.
Because there's this weird thing that we do that this one and here. All right. So what I did, Mona, was all right. It's not showing, right?
It looked like it went down. Let me try. Okay, it's there.
Okay, I was trying to get it where we're on the side. So and again, you guys, Mona and I, we are producers. We are the co-hosts. We are the everything. So bear with us. So Black people, white men on the top, Black people on the bottom. So this was the substack, and everyone else, everybody else, all the other races are stacked in between in roughly the same order, 400 years apart, right? 400 years apart. You can see the evolution of planter class and slaves, all the way to right now, where you have white Anglo-Saxon Protestants, if you will, and people are taking me to task on that, and Black people, and mainly African American. I'm not even talking all Black people, but African Americans at the base. So people are taking me to task on that. So the comments came really fast.
I was amazed at the comments, and it was just hard to keep up with it. And saying to them, commenting out of madness.
They were mad.
It is the truth. I mean, how
they were pissed.
The truth? Yes, it's not a lie. It is what it is, and they were so angry.
Pissed.
Yes,
they really were. And but you know what? They weren't really debating history. They weren't debating the history. They were debating whether I had a right to point at it.
Yeah.
They called it victim mentality. They were saying, like, here we go again, like Black people are always saying, they're playing the victim. And they were saying, not everything is about race. I happen to believe different, but that's what they were telling me.
About race.
Right. But that's what they were telling me. And that reaction, though, when I sat down and I thought about it, Mona, I said, the reaction really isn't stupid. And it isn't even always dishonest. But what it is it's predictable. I could predict that when I put the hierarchy out there, and this one, I've been doing this for a long time, but this one I dressed up and made it all pretty. I said, AI, make it pretty. And it did. And people like gravitated toward it and attacked it. But it was predictable how they would respond, and that more white people were responding to it than Black people. And they were angry, as Mona pointed out. And that is the whole point. That's the whole point. So let me explain as plainly as I can what I said in that piece. So I'm not asking people to feel guilty about whites on the top and Blacks on the bottom. I'm asking you to look at something you've been trained not to see. Think about that. We've been trained not to see.
You're asking them to understand the reality. And I believe when they and us understand the reality of the situation, we can move forward better as Americans.
Exactly.
You don't have to feel guilty. It is what it is.
All right. So you use the word reality. You use the word reality, and the opposite of reality is pure fiction, right? And maybe that's what we spend.
White man.
That's
we see that's what white man does all the time in history. We're going to rewrite it. All right.
So I looked at a doll study that I had come across years ago in the 1940s. And y'all bear with me because I'm going to try to get through this real quick. In the 1940s, there were two psychologists, Kenneth and Mamie Clark. They sat Black children down with 4 dolls, identical except for color. This is called the doll study. They asked them which one was good, which one they wanted to play with. And most of those little Black children picked the white doll. They were 3, 4, and 5 years old without very much knowledge at all. And they chose the white doll. So nobody had handed these little children a philosophy, and nobody explained the racial hierarchy, my nice little side-by-side hierarchy. Nobody explained that to them. They already knew which one was supposed to be the standard, which of those 4 dolls was supposed to be the standard. How did they know that? 3, 4, 5-year-olds, right? So let me play a video of the doll study. Can you bring that up? Hopefully.
Yep. Hold on.
black doll? And which one is the white doll?
That one.
Which doll is the pretty doll? Which doll is the nice doll? Which doll is the bad doll? Which doll is the nice doll? And which doll is the bad doll? And why is that doll pretty?
Because she's white and he has 2 eyes.
Which doll is the ugly doll? Why is that doll ugly?
Because he's black.
Which doll looks most like you?
Like me.
Yeah, which one looks like you?
And that one.
Okay.
That doll.
Wow.
Mona, that broke my heart.
Yes.
And that was in 1940. I wasn't born. None of us were around. But the message was very clear. But later, they did this study again in 2005 and 2010. But I want to show you, they did the study with white children because they also wanted to know the impact of race and the standard on, they wanted to know it for white children as well. So can you pull that one up?
Child.
Because she looks like me.
Okay. Show me the mean child. Okay, why is she the mean child?
Because she's way darker.
Okay. Show me the good child. Why is she the good child?
Because I think she looks like me.
Okay. Show me the bad child. Why is she the bad child?
Because she's a lot darker.
Show me the ugly child. Why is she the ugly child?
Because she's like, a lot darker.
So that test, actually, when you look at it, it helped in legal school segregation because it proved the hierarchy doesn't live in what people say. That hierarchy that I talked about, it lives in what they reach for when nobody is asking them to explain themselves. Now, it seems like I'm talking about children, but I'm actually talking about you, us.
Yeah.
How we have adopted a standard that guides who we choose, right? So that order wasn't built by better men, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was built by a better story. And the self-made man, the bootstraps, the idea that the man at the top got there because he outworked everybody beneath him. Here's what that story leaves out, because everybody says, Black people, we know this all too well, pull yourself up by your own bootstraps, right? We know this all too well. They have built a story that leaves us out. But here's what they leave out the most. The fortunes that built this country weren't built by individuals, John Wayne and all of those, rugged, what have you. Plantations ran on hundreds of stolen lives, working in coordination every day for generations. And the people who built their fortunes on collective extraction turned around and told the story in individual terms. I did this, right? And then they took the very thing that enslaved and colonized people survive it, our need for kinship, the mutual aid that we provide to each other and showing up for each other. And they call that proof that we didn't measure up, right? They were telling the story in a way that they as individuals created great things. And we needing to be in a group that was bad things. So the narrative, the story was being built and built into the systems, which also was built into our children. So if you want to know whether a standard is real, the standard that I'm claiming that we all carry, don't listen to what people say about it. Watch what they forgive. And to me, Trump is probably the best example of that, right? But let me take you to 2014. Do you remember when Barack Obama wore that tan suit?
Yeah, yeah.
And he wore it to a press briefing. Well,
They lost their mind.
Cable news literally lost their minds, and they didn't let it go for over a decade. In fact, to this very day, when I say the tan suit, folks know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
But Mona, did you know Ronald Reagan wore a tan suit too?
I did not.
Well, nobody remembers that because nobody made it a story. They did not make it a story. Now, follow me on that. They didn't make it a story. They made Barack Obama's tan suit a major, major story. But Ronald Reagan had already done that, been there, done that. Same office, different man. One got a news cycle and the other got absolutely nothing because nothing was expected to be made of it, right?
It was a white man.
There you go. The doll study, black doll, white doll. Which one are you going to choose? So there's real research behind this, y'all. So I'm not just talking about it. It's not just a feeling. Psychologists who study how we assign credit for success found that Black people or Black individuals who succeed are more likely to be seen as lucky, right? And less able than white individuals who achieve the exact same thing. We're lucky, but they got skill.
Right.
Get that? Whites failure, but when they fail, when white people fail, and we're seeing failure everywhere. So when white people fail, that stays individual. But when black success becomes the exception, that proves nothing at all. But white failure is individual. Black failure is not individual. It's now the whole group can't do whatever. So here's what's different about this moment right here. And I'm trying to bring it all in so that you know where I'm going. I'm going from 1840s. White men in power aren't failing more than they ever have. They're not failing more than they ever have. They've been failing at exactly the same rate for over 400 years. Would you agree with that, Mona?
I definitely do.
Yes. What's different, though, is it can't be hidden anymore. They can't hide the massive failure of white men anymore. The infrastructure that used to quietly absorb those failures is buckling under how much information reaches how many people and how fast. Thank God for the internet. I say that probably every other show. So let me bring this all the way back to where I started, because I don't want the point to get lost, right? This was never an argument that white men are lesser. Nobody's trying to say those white men at the top are lesser. The thesis is simpler.
Well, I would beg the difference.
Dismiss.
I would beg the difference in this season under this administration.
Yes.
And I know we're talking in general. I'm sorry. Keep on.
That's all right. So the standard itself that keeps the race hierarchy, I'm going back to the race hierarchy. I've been talking about this now for about 6 or 7 years, right? And it goes into a lot of the papers that I write. So it keeps the race hierarchy intact. And it was never what it really claimed to be. It was never a measure of merit. You know, they like to say merit. They like to say they're basing things on merit. But Black people, we have always seen that is not the case. That has never been the case. But they have fooled themselves into believing that. So we have this race hierarchy that everybody buys into. Everybody does.
Mm-hmm.
White men at the top and black men, African Americans at the bottom. All right. So they built this story, and they needed that story to justify what they had already stolen. And they held it in place for over 400 years by a system that made its own failures invisible, right? While turning everyone else's failures into a natural verdict. And that is what we are experiencing right now. That's what we are beginning to, more and more people are beginning to see. Now, I think Black folks have always saw it. We've always seen it. So the pyramid was never a complaint, it was an audit. And the numbers don't lie, even when the story built on top of them was an outright lie. So I want folks to really sit with that for the rest of the segment. And Mona, go for it. Go for the pushback, because I honestly believe that the time right now is such that the information is there, but we tend to still follow a certain standard. And you can tell that in how we choose candidates, in how we hire, in who we choose for just about anything.
Yeah. So, Jeanette, I was wondering, we just spent the last 2 hours holding Black candidates to that same standard, right? Back to back. So does this dog test even apply when the choice is between, let's say, two Black candidates?
You know, I love that we have a choice between two Black candidates. Love when that happens, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, given the fact that we called it an anchor seat, I get that. And it's sort of by design that it's a Black anchor seat. I love the fact that we are choosing between two highly qualified Black candidates. But I don't think I can sit here and score Commissioner Myers or Twanda Bradley on how well they perform in white spaces, because that would be me mistaking what the test is actually trying to measure. It's not focusing on them. The original doll study never told you anything about the dolls, did it?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No.
They were identical. So what it told you was about the child holding them, and what that child had already absorbed about what is good and what is bad. And that was before anyone ever asked her to explain herself. She just chose the doll and said, that one is bad, the Black one is bad, and the white one is good, right?
Let me ask you something. I'm going to pause you right there. So we often hear now, particularly white, maybe say liberals or maybe some conservatives, when they say, I don't see color. And why do you think people say that? Because you do see color. Those children didn't know anything. They saw color.
Right. Because it's the safe thing to say and do. Mona, everybody sees color.
Yeah. And it's not a bad thing.
Everybody sees color. Yeah. And it is not a bad thing. In fact, when you tell me you don't see color, you are dismissing my very existence. And that was a way of saying to me, I need you to assimilate, right? Mm-hmm. The I don't see color dismisses Blackness, and we cannot have that. But those children, 3, 4, 5-year-olds, Black and white, 2 different studies, saw color, because we are conditioned to see color from the very beginning. And please do not let the current administration and those people surrounding them make you believe that this is going to be a colorblind society. Nothing could ever be further from the truth, and we cannot let that happen. So When a donor, for example, now I'm going to talk about us, right? Keep the
Mhm.
doll study in mind because I was actually talking about you. You just didn't know that. When a donor writes a bigger check to the more soft spoken, more aligned candidate, or a newsroom calls one person combative and the other one measured for saying the same thing in a different register,
Or
that's
passion.
not, yes,
Mhm.
that's not a finding about the candidate. It's not a finding about the candidate. That's a finding about the chooser.
Mhm. Mhm.
So no,
Mhm.
I'm not going to tell you which of tonight's candidates is playing the game better. That's not a fact about either of them. If you felt yourself reaching for an answer to that question anyway, in your own head just now, that reaction is the data, not Commissioner Myers and not Twanda Bradley. The data that we're looking at right now is you and why you gravitate toward one or the other. And I could say the same thing, why one gravitated toward Kamala versus Donald Trump, right?
Mhm.
Why do we choose? And it's like the doll. Think about them, Kamala and Trump as Kamala. Think about Harris and Trump as dolls. And you're going to, and this is the doll study, but this is the candidate study, we'll call it that. And we go to the polls and we're going to pick which one is bad and which one is good, right? And there were many, many people who chose Kamala as bad. They were saying it no matter what she did, what she said,
Mhm.
she was the doll that they felt was the bad doll, right? The one that they couldn't
Irrespective
relate to.
of their the
Exactly.
history, they just off a
And
look.
so you got to wonder, what was the standard? What
Yeah.
was the standard? And was the standard skin color? And is that generally the standard when we are choosing and selecting? Just like the 3, 4, 5 year olds, we are 30, 40, 50, 60 years old, and we're using the exact same standard by which we select. And I think when the candidates are, and this is basic, they're so, and that's not to say that that's everybody that does that, but everybody who has not really taken the time to stop and think it through does that almost by rote. They
Yeah.
just do it out of habit. They just do it out of comfort. They just do it out of what they have always understood and learned. And that's what
And
we're
you know
talking
the
about tonight.
and the funny thing on that particular analogy, both blacks and white did that,
Yes, they
and
did.
most of the blacks did it off of gender, but pretty much the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Same
Wow.
thing. There are
Wow.
standards. There are the stories. Remember, the white man at the top told the stories, and he had to tell the stories that justified why he was at the top. You
Mhm.
know,
Mhm.
self-determination, individualism, all of that. Pull myself up by my own bootstraps. I got
Mhm.
this. So he had to
Mhm.
justify after he stole the labor and he stole the land, he had to tell a story that we all bought into, right?
And stole the
So
narrative as well.
so that is what we're talking about still today, 400 years later, and that is one of the main reasons why that pyramid, that race hierarchy is intact some 400 years ago later. I just need for people to just stop and think about, as we go into this election over the next 2 election cycles, how am I making decisions about the candidates? And even how is my neighbor making decisions? And how do we bring them to some realization that they're doing nothing any different than what the 3, 4, 5 years olds did when they reached for the white doll and said that the white doll is good and the white doll is pretty. And you know, you guys Google it. The doll study is there. And a lot of analysis on the doll study is also there as well. So
I remember when I first saw it, it was unbelievable. And I remember when I saw it, and I said, and we have to be mind conscious when we start
very
our
much so.
families, when we start our families, when we how we want to educate them, raise them. And I was always conscious of that decision. So
Yeah.
it would have been interesting if my daughter had to be interviewed. I would like to believe that she would always pick people who look like her.
That's kind of interesting.
For all greatness, because that's what we showed, that's what we presented her with.
Yeah.
I didn't even have white baby dolls for her.
Yeah. I know, but I think about, it was 1940s when the Clarks did the doll study. I was born in 1959, and I do recall my first black doll, right? My first black doll. And it had to have been after the doll study, because it was around 1965. I might have been 4 or 5 years old, because we got those big old dolls that were almost as tall as we were. Prior to that, and I remember when my mom gave us the doll, the one had short curly hair, really short curly hair. The two dolls, me and Janelle got the short curly hair tall dolls. My sister Doris got the tall doll with the long flowing black hair. And we were mad. How you going to give us the dolls with no hair, right? With no hair. We want this doll. But before that, we were getting white dolls, and we would have chosen the white dolls, right? So I look at that, and then my mom became conscious around 1965 and made sure that we were getting black dolls. And throughout our lives, until I was in maybe 5th grade, we were getting, it was interchangeable. But I remember us not being happy with the doll with no hair. This is what we called it. It had hair, but it was, we were choosing
4C hair.
4C, exactly. But even though, and this kind of gets to what we're even asking about, what happens when there are 2 black candidates, even though we were choosing between 2 black dolls, one with short 4C and the other one with long flowy hair, we were still
European hair.
We were still looking at the basing it on the standard. The standard was there. And sometimes we think we're choosing black, but actually, are we choosing as close to white as we can? And we do that in our candidates, and we do that in our mates, and we do that in so many different ways that I'm just asking us, let's check ourselves. Let's check ourselves on that.
It is how we picked our first black president, someone who could be presentable to not only us, but to the world.
Absolutely.
Because he was not the first African American president. They couldn't really take on, I won't say a Jesse Jackson, because he was, but let's say Jesse Jackson. But if you look at it, it has to be always almost watered down, appeasing to them, and even sometimes to us.
Yeah, definitely, because we said to Barack Obama, don't you get in there and embarrass us. So he had to be pristine for us, couldn't get in trouble. His kids couldn't get in trouble. They were like the perfect little family there, but we didn't let them be black in that White House. We didn't want them to be black in that White House. And I think that's what we shoot ourselves in the foot on so much of the time, in terms of how we are choosing candidates to represent us, We're not choosing the fighters. We are not choosing the fighters. We are not choosing the ones who are going to prioritize a Black agenda. We want to make peace and everybody okay. And to do that, I've got to make sure that who I am backing might be Black so I can get away with that. But they have to have white attributes that helps me feel okay, right?
Electable.
Choosing.
And I
Electable,
feel that
yeah.
I feel we had that with the that race in Texas.
Yes.
Jasmine Crockett.
Oh, the Crockett doll versus the Tallarico doll. That is perfect. That is perfect. And she was as Black as they come, as educated as they come.
Very educated.
She had everything, the experience. And when it came down to choosing which doll, they chose the Tallarico doll, right?
And the people said so. I mean, the Democratic
I like her butt.
Party.
Yeah.
Yes. I don't think the time is right. You're electable, and that's what I have a problem with that. We're going to get into that, if not next week, if not Wednesday, a little bit on Wednesday. No, not Wednesday, Sunday. How we are more of a support group for this party. We want you here to support it, not to run it, not to be over it, but support. Well, okay, let me go to my next question, but I think you answered that a little bit, talking about electability. And you're telling them that the reaction said something about them, and not really something about the two candidates, because that's what we're doing. So I'm gonna go to the next one.
Yeah.
You said in the piece, you're not asking people to feel guilty about their choice. Do you, and it's the two-part, do you think it's just natural to put up a defense? But a lot of your commenters heard guilt anyway. Why do you think that gap is so hard to close?
Because I'm talking about you and something that you don't really understand why, but I'm challenging you to. So I'm pointing at the structure and accusing a person, and that can feel identical, like I'm attacking you from the inside, even when they're really not the same thing. So there's an American sociologist called Herbert Bloomer. I really, really love his work, right? 5 or 6 years. He points to that belonging to a group at the top comes with an inherited sense of position. I believe group positioning is what's driving a lot of what people are fighting for right now. I belong to this group. Well, I happen to belong to the group at the very bottom. But white people, they belong to the group at the very top. And even if they are not the men at the top, their position to the very top is something that they cherish, even though they won't say it, right? So it's not necessarily because I belong to the group. It's not something that I've signed up for, but something that they're going to carry anyway, right? So when you show someone a fact about the structure, it doesn't land as information. It lands as a threat to their membership card, right? It's a threat to their membership card, to whiteness or to Blackness. But everybody's trying to get away from Blackness, right? So that's not a lie people tell on purpose. I think it's what happens when a system is built to be invisible to the people standing on the top of it. So the system is built so that you don't see it, but it's there. And you know it's there because you kind of help it stay the way it is. in a way that when I challenge you, you can deny it, but you know that you're doing it. It's an odd thing, that whole invisibility of whiteness, if you will. And I think people do understand that. So that which you don't see at the top is painfully visible to everybody else. We can see it, right?
Right.
I can't close that gap by saying, don't feel guilty one more time. I can only keep asking people to notice the defensiveness itself instead of acting on it. So I would have to say to my white friend who's feeling that a little guilty, it's like, notice the feeling of defensiveness and let's work on that. Let's work with that, because it's that invisibility of something happening that you refuse to see that I need you to see, because we can all see it at the bottom.
So let me push back on that a little, because do you think they feel guilty because they know the truth, but they don't want to accept the truth, or that you now know the truth, or that you now dare speak of the truth? Because it isn't like
That
you
part.
didn't know those truths during slavery, but you could not say these things to them. So
You now,
are they
you
feeling
have,
this way because we're making them aware of who you are, and we know
Right.
who you are, and they know who
Right.
they are.
We now are speaking of some, we all know it's there, but we pretend that it's not there. And now that I am bold enough to say it's there, you know it's there, that's a problem. Because again, they are content with the invisibility.
Sure.
We
Why
can
not?
see
It's
it from
working in their
from
favor.
down here. We can see it from down there to those people at the top. But we have never wanted to say anything because we get attacked for saying it. But now we are saying it. And the defensiveness, back to when I made the post and I got attacked from white people that I don't even know who these
it was
people
crazy.
are.
It was crazy.
It must have gone viral because people were hitting it from. So I look at it as I don't even know these people, and I don't take it personally. I understand that they are feeling that I'm attacking them, and they're feing guilty, so they are attacking me.
Yeah, it was.
So I get the attack. Yeah.
Well, it was so bad because I remember calling you and saying, "What the fuck is going on here? Why are they so angry?" And I had to almost go back to make sure my page was private, because my personal page is like, because I made a few comments a couple of times, and I was like, "Dude, what are you getting so upset about?"
They were so upset.
It was unbelievable. Yeah. Well, I want you, because you mentioned the bloomer group position ideal. So in plain terms, for the people who didn't read the piece, why is that different from someone simply disliking another race?
Because disliking somebody is personal, right?
Yeah.
And I like to talk a lot on my Facebook page, and I have lots of white friends, right? And I am not talking to them.
Right.
I am talking to them, but then again, I'm not talking to them. I'm talking to something much
to the
bigger.
group.
Right.
Are you talking to the group, not individual?
So I'm talking to the group. So I'm not talking to them. If the shoe fits, wear it. But I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to a group. So disliking somebody is personal. One person, one feeling. Group position, which is what I talk about, and which is what I also will be bringing into any dissertation work that I do with the schools. Group position is not personal at all. It's a shared sense held collectively by the group on the top, right? Of where everybody belongs relative to everybody else. They believe, and your friends, they may not say this, your white friends, they believe they belong to the group at the top, period. Whether they want to do anything with it or not, they believe that. And so there is this sense of protection around keeping that group at the top. I don't know if that makes sense. And that's relative to the Asians and relative to the Hispanics. It's relative to the Black people. Everybody else has to be underneath, because white people know we're the ones at the top. We're the ones in power. Presidents are all supposed to be male and white. There's this understanding, there's this ruling. So not a description of how things are, an agreement about how things ought to stay, right? This is where we are right now. This is where we are. That's why the reaction to a pyramid graphic is never going to be calm. And it's one of the reasons I keep pushing it out there, because we need to understand it hasn't changed in 400 years. WTF, right? Even from a stranger who's never met me and has nothing at stake, they went batshit bananas.
They were batshit crazy. Yes, they did.
They're not defending the facts, though. But they're not defending a fact. They're defending a rank. They're defending a rank, theirs, whether they ever asked for it or not. And I was challenging their rank. I was telling them, this is how it is, and here's who's next. They hated who I had next. Well, the Asians should be next. And how do you? And it's kind of like, you're missing the point, and that's interchangeable. Y'all hate the Asians too. It's like, come on, give me a break.
Not too bright. And as I'm sitting here, I was thinking maybe we should have pulled up some of the comments, some of the interested ones. It was maybe one or two who really wanted to engage, who really needed to ask, but most of them was on defense.
Yeah, they really were. They really were. And I was, at first I felt some type of way when I started reading it. I was like, well, dang.
Yeah.
I'm feeling a little like attacked.
Yeah.
And then I said, oh, I get it. I have really hit the sweet spot here.
Yeah, you hit a nerve. Sister.
And I am definitely going to continue hitting that nerve, because I think that we're in such a time right now with so much information that us putting our heads down and going and just doing our own lives is a mistake.
Absolutely.
Because now is the time.
It has been detrimental to us.
Yeah. Now is the time to break up the hierarchy. It's time to break the hierarchy. Right.
Well, you also wrote that organized people are dangerous to a rigged standard. And that basically this whole show, right, editorial mission, how does that line show up in how Wabi actually operates? And maybe the 8-point demand list, refusing paid guests, all of it.
So how does it line up? Every piece of it lines up. The 8-point demand list turns individual votes into a collective PAC. And Black folks, you gotta have some very solid demands that we all can agree on for the most part, and that we move collectively together as a PAC. It's an ask or a demand. I know we like to say demand, that needs to be publicly on the record, not secret, but publicly on the record, so that no candidate can pick us off one favor or one photo op at a time. And they know that this is a strategy to keep us divided by picking us off, Target focusing on Jay-Z, the NFL also pulling Jay-Z, because that's been in the news quite a bit. Jay-Z is being picked off because he's an influencer, and he thinks that we're going to all follow him and stop the boycotting, et cetera, right? But it's a strategy that they do. They use it.
We have to do something about that when we can't come together as a group if they want to use him. But I'm thinking something more a little local here. When I look at Charlie Crist, um, the mayor,
Oh,
and when I look at Gerald Rousseau,
yeah, same thing.
same thing. And I can see that narrative there.
It's definitely the same thing, and that's the key. We need to be aware enough to know it when it's happening and what we're seeing. And hopefully we can pressure each other enough that we stay with the group and not go out and allow them to dangle a few trinkets in front of us and we move against the larger group. But
So
that's us refusing to become the isolated negotiable actor a rigged standard knows how to handle. And running the same questions past every candidate, non-endorsing means nobody gets to build a special relationship with this show. Nobody really does. It's
right,
what we decide. The fact that
right,
we're not accepting paid candidates and those type things. We're not being told what to do. We're not being told we're one of the good ones, right?
what to think? Yes, what
Right.
to think?
The
What to
format
say?
isn't just, yeah, the format isn't just style. It's how we operationalized here. And if you, like, for example, somebody approaches you, you're like, hey, I'm going to get with Jeanette, and then we'll let you know. Same thing. It's like, how do we move together collectively? It's just two of us. But we're talking about some 35 million, 45 million if we're doing all Black people. But if I'm talking about African Americans, some 35 million people that need to move lockstep and
Sure.
not to be swayed or pulled apart the way white America has definitely figured out how to do over the last 400 years.
Have done right. I was gonna right has done that for over 400 years, and I'm at a point where, come on, guys, it is time to wake up.
It's
And
time.
even if it's not time, I was thinking about this, Jeanette,
Mhm.
that I've always kind of sort of admired the senator and
Mhm.
said to myself, what because I like to look at Black men. My brother has always said you can't talk down, you can't disrespect Black men. But I
Mhm.
lost almost all respect for the brother, right? When he did what he did. And and I said, what made him do that? And it gotta be now bigger than yourself. You can't, whatever Charlie Crist might have offered him, he would have had to say, I can't do this. I have to walk away, or I'd rather not endorse anyone. But you gave your endorsement to the mayor and then
Yeah.
take it away. And
Yeah.
so, what should be our thing? Like, he should be excommunicated from the community.
That's
And
that's the old, you're
believe
gonna
that because,
losing your Black card.
and they got to
But
be something other just saying that. I mean, we literally have to let everybody, I mean, anybody know when he walked down the street, it almost has to be like an X on his head. Like, dude, you have been excommunicated. No one would touch you. You have no value. Nothing you say. He has to go, and everybody like that has to go.
yeah, yeah. It's choosing the Black doll or the
Yeah,
white doll.
yeah. Now, I'm
Was
not
he
saying that he had to do it. I mean, they both relying. This is why I'm talking about. Charlie Crist is a Republican. Gerald
Mhm.
Rousseau is a Republican.
He's not a
Maybe
Republican. The records
he
say
might
that
not
he's
be, he might not be a Republican right now, but he was once a Republican. I know that for a fact. Now,
not, according to the records. It might have been before he even ran for anything. He started out as a Democrat and maintained, according
did he
to the
start off
record.
as a Democrat?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Well, it just seems like maybe he was a
He just
Republican.
learned how to move
City
in
council.
Republican.
Well,
Mona,
he was on city council.
he learned how to move in Republican circles, and
Mhm.
it was his way of figuring out how to get things done in a Senate, House, and then Senate filled with white Republicans. So I'm not saying
Yeah,
yay or nay because I still think the doll study applies here. You
absolutely.
choose, you choose, you know, am I going to choose Charlie Crist or am I going to choose what's the mayor's name? The brother, I can't
Uh,
remember his name.
Ken Welch.
Well, do I choose Ken Welch? And while he first said, you know what, I'm gonna choose Ken, he
Yeah.
took
So what? How would the
action.
doll do that? I don't know if that was the doll thing or a calculated. Maybe they owe him something. Maybe they have something on him. But all I'm saying is that was a bitch ass switch
Well,
out.
the doll study doesn't just talk about skin color, and if I said that before, it talks about the attributes you associate with. And if the white doll has more power and I have more potential with the white doll because
Okay.
of their acceptance in the community and their connections to, law firms and whatever else. I don't know what the attributes would be for the doll. The
Mhm.
black doll doesn't have
Learn
that.
something. Mhm.
The black doll doesn't have that. So when we look at a more sophisticated use of the doll study, when we're talking about hiring decisions, or we're talking about who's going to be president, or who's going to be mayor, or who's going to be in a county commissioner or a city council member, think about the doll study, but think about it in a more sophisticated way that gets beyond just skin color, but it is in what we associate with skin color and the opportunities that I have. Even with two black dolls, I told you in 1965, me and Janelle did not want the black dolls with the 4C hair. We wanted the black doll. Yes, that was a choice, but we wanted the one with the long white hair.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not white hair, but the long straight hair,
European hair.
right?
Yeah. Mhm.
So you gotta kind of think about for yourself, because that's what this exercise is about. It's not me thinking about you, Mona, and what you're going to do. Is that when I'm making choices and decisions, am I using the standard, the one that white men 400 years ago put out there, that helped them maintain their top status, their power, their money? And if my standard is based on that, individualism, pull yourself up by your own straps, don't rely on community. It's all about stepping on each other, that type thing, using what, if think about your standard that like Mayor Mamdani, right? He's community. He's about, so the establishment hates him
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
he's not for that pyramid where the white man is on top.
Yeah.
He's trying to destroy that, and all of those attributes that they associated with black people in terms of our survival as community, and taking care of each other and being there for each other, was negative. But that's what he's applying in New York City. So those are things that I'm just asking us to think about instead of going forward business as usual. Think about these candidates and think about where it comes from and why am I continuously choosing the white doll? I'm choosing the white doll.
Mhm. So if I was to ask you to give me an example of a public figure whose mistake, small mistake, got blown out of proportion versus a white counterpart whose bigger, bigger mistake got mineralized like the tan suit, how would you be able to compare that? What would you be able to compare that with?
I'd go right into the WNBA, the women's basketball.
Mhm.
I would look
Oh,
at
yeah.
a
Oh my
place.
God. I was just on Instagram and we just I know where you're finna go with that because I was like, what the fuck is going on here? Yeah. Okay. Go.
Yeah, I would just go with Angel Reese, and she got called classless,
Yeah.
and worse by grown men, also black, with television contracts.
Yeah.
Um, for one animated moment in the game way back in, I don't know, when they were in college, one game
When
that
she was
tied
doing the
her
rain thing. Yeah.
that tied her to Caitlin Clark forever. The two prominent white male media figures went after her publicly for a gesture with Caitlin Clark, who was a white player, right? Black doll, white doll. I got Angel Reese, my black doll, and over here I got Caitlin Clark, my white doll. Um, it's If it wasn't for Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark, probably people wouldn't even notice her. But that one gesture, they blew out of
Absolutely.
proportion, major. Same league, same kind of moment, two different verdicts because Caitlin had done something very similar before.
Right.
And so
And
Angel
nobody made it an issue
Angel
out of
was taunting her and playing
it.
it back to her.
Yes.
Caitlin did it, nobody noticed it. As soon as Angel does it, it blows up out of proportion, right? So they got two different verdicts on that, and it's the tan suit just in sneakers instead of a suit jacket. They blow the things we do out of proportion. They do not pay attention to it when white people do it. Black doll, white doll.
And if I recall, when Angel did it, well, first off, I didn't even know who Caitlin Clark was. I didn't know who she was. Angel was either. And when I realized that the white girl had did it first, and it didn't get any traction, but when the
None at
sister
all.
did, yeah. So I see where you're going. All right, let me go to. I got one more question, a couple of more questions for you. You argued the collapse we're watching right now: corporate resignation, political scandals, institutional failure. Isn't chaos. You're saying it is exposure. Some girls are going to hear that and think you're celebrating other people what downfall. What do you say to that?
So I'd say just read the Substack. Read the Substack.
Yes,
Read
yes,
what I actually wrote, not what you're afraid of what I wrote, because I really am not celebrating anybody's personal ruin. I'm
sure.
just naming the pattern. We have to. You mentioned the word reality, and I said, okay, the opposite of reality is fiction. We need to get out of the fictional world that they have built for us, and we need to call it out. And I think that's really what I'm doing. I'm naming a pattern. That white failure used to stay individual, contained, forgivable, because we're forgiving Trump every day for stuff.
Yeah.
And now it doesn't stay contained anymore. We see it because the information doesn't stay hidden. That's not me wishing harm on anybody. That's a description of what happens when scarcity of information disappears. If naming that makes someone uncomfortable, I'd ask them to sit with why accountability finally reaching everyone equally feels like an attack, instead of what it actually is. It's fairness arriving late. It's fairness arriving now. It's us deciding we're going to get off that bottom rung as a group and we're going to start rising. And that's not just the basketball players and the entertainers, it is everyone in very large numbers, because that does not happen yet. There's too many of us still tethered to the bottom.
Oh, absolutely. So, your doctoral work is in educational leadership, correct?
Yep.
Title One school policies. Where does this pyramid thesis show up in a school board meeting? Not just a presidential, let's say, press conference, but in the
Yeah.
school.
So Yeah, it shows up everywhere, and I get to kind of be a part of that. And I have been doing this for almost a decade now. It's in which kids get called disruptive, right? Back to the doll study. I got a white student and a black student, boy, sitting in a classroom. They're both doing something, but I'm really going to focus on the black kid
We've
as
been seeing that
bad.
data. Daryl Hines has been showing us a different type of data
Uh-huh.
with what you just said, and
Yeah.
it's yeah.
Yeah. It's so the black kid gets called disruptive, and which one gets called spirited? Like the white kid gets called spirited um, for identical behavior in so many different cases. So
But then can I interrupt you because somebody
yeah,
keeps
sure.
texting me? Oh, you just don't let them finish. I keep getting feedback. They keep saying,
Mhm.
you just struck something, and I try to write them down before I can ask you. Um, but I believe we all had those experiences, right? Because I'm just going to tell you something that happened in second grade. Two kids, black kid and a white kid. One
Mhm.
was considered awful, and one was considered rambunctious. I'm never going to forget that.
Mhm.
So
That's it was
we
that
know
that
this.
happened that
And
happened
then
time
we
and time and time
have
again.
people like you fighting for us. If we don't have black people who's standing up to say we have to change this narrative that our
I
children
know
put through
because
this.
a lot of us still follow the standard. We're still trying to um, pull ourselves up by our own bootstraps. We're still trying to be individual. We're still trying to follow the white man's narrative of why he is at the top, as if he did it all by himself. He did not, because we, Black people, we understand community, but they are against community. That's why what you're seeing in New York City is all about people and community. They don't want that. They need for the top to stay in complete control, using us at the bottom, because
Yeah.
the attributes that we have been deemed as less than desirable. And I think that's really the bottom line is we have to show them there's a different way, but we have to come together to do that. And a lot of that has to be demonstrated in terms of the collective power in the next two elections, not just one, in the next two elections. And you can bet that the top up here, they're all on board with what is happening to destroy the institutions and the systems. They are all on board. In fact, they're working together to make that happen because they know that we are not going to come together.
And I kind
They
of saw
know
that.
this.
And I talk about personal experience, right? So I kind of saw that almost like 20 years ago at my
Yeah.
farm park. It reminds me of when I first met Mike Suarez. Yeah, it's strange. So everything you're saying, I mean, it's coming back to me, and I'm like, oh my God, yes, I remember this, living it in real time, and of course, my experience versus yours would be a little different because I didn't work in that atmosphere. I wasn't around that too much, so I only saw that during that period when my daughter was in school,
Yeah.
where I really interacted. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. Oh my God. Okay. I'm gonna. Yeah, I'm gonna because I can say a lot on that, but I'm gonna move to the next one.
Okay.
So if the standards is rigged, and that's gonna be a trigger for me because I remember at that school, we're gonna have a sit down about that because it was rigged. What do you actually want the person watching right now, black, white, whoever, to do differently at the dinner table, in the voting booth, wherever? What is the actual ask? And 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 let me before you say that is as black parents, we do have to have this conversation, not only whites, but we have to have this conversations in our family with our children because I'm telling you, I lived that and we all live that.
Yeah, there is a standard. The standard exists. We have a tendency to choose the white doll. And unless we are going to work at stop choosing the white doll, we will continue to choose the white doll. And even if you don't exactly reach for the white doll, you're going to reach for the black doll who may have the longer, straighter hair, right? So I want you to notice your own instinct before you act on it. Notice your own instinct. And that pretty much is the whole ask. And that's what the piece was all about. And the next time you feel that fast, defensive reaction to a candidate, for example, or a headline, or a coworker, or a graphic on your timeline, as I did, don't perform guilt about it. And don't argue it away either. Just notice it. The way I asked you to notice it in this piece. Then vote or hire or promote and judge like you actually noticed it. I noticed the black doll and I noticed the white doll. That's it. That's the whole thing. Nobody's asking you to fix 400 years by Tuesday. Nope. I'm asking you to stop being the last one in the room, still running the doll test and choosing the doll that you think is good that happens to look the opposite of you, because that's their narrative. They painted that picture. And all of us, because you saw the black child and you saw the white child, they're both saying that the darker child was ugly, was bad, right? And they did not want to play with that person.
Scary.
They were the ones that were going to do bad things. They said that, and these are 3, 4, 5-year-olds, right? We're still operating under that premise. So I'm asking you to stop being the last one in the room, still running the dog test in your own mental capacity.
All right. Look, that's the whole show. That is the show, right?
That's it.
So, yeah. So I would say, guys, to really understand, because we have to break it down, to go read the whole piece. It was she's a, I don't know, Jeanette, you need to be writing a lot of those short stories, because all of, I believe now you might have 3 or 4 pieces on Substacks, and I don't know which is better. They just keep getting better. But it is definitely information that we all need, not just us, but we all can learn and use from moving forward.
Yeah, let's run through real quick a couple of the comments during this piece.
Okay.
That sometimes show this is a pivotal moment. I knew about the doll study and it's still alive and well. Yep, that's very, very true. That's the point I'm trying to make. I'm seeing it every single day.
Yeah.
The only way a person cannot see color is if they are blind.
Yeah, absolutely.
I couldn't have said that better.
Yeah.
My parents never bought us white dolls.
Yeah.
My parents did. Yes, they did.
Well, I believe she might be a lot younger, because, see, like me, I didn't buy white dolls for my daughter either, because she needs dolls that look like her. And that's just, it's neither bad nor good. It is just, I don't think white parents buy white dolls. Now, as she got older, we could pull them in, but in the beginning, we made sure, and even anybody who bought, this house is pro-black. I want things to look to, she understood.
Well, the 60s was that pro-black era where you've got the rise of sayings like "I'm black and I'm proud," and all of this. All of this is beginning to happen. Doll study happens, and we've got 65 civil rights, 64 Civil Rights Act, and so on. All of that is happening in the 60s, and parents are now becoming more conscious of how they are impacting their kids' psyche with the doll study. But it's so much bigger because it is the narrative from the top about how we function, who counts and who doesn't, and what attributes are we want to try to all move toward, and what we want to move away from, and those things that we embraced were considered bad.
So, by the time I had my daughter, I don't know, we was having a discussion with a group of people, and and I just remembered that when we say that our children, everything they see is white on TV, commercials during that time. And, I had my daughter later, so I made a conscious decision to make sure when she comes into the earth, the first thing she's going to see, a black doctor delivering her, black parent, a black nurse, everything. We had to be conscious of that. You got to be conscious of it, because really, we live in a white world, white society.
We do, but look at the influence we've had on this white world, white society. And we've been battling the narrative. We've been battling this narrative for such a long time. But it's been more cultural than it has been along those operational lines where we are actually controlling. So, but I think the time is now. I honestly believe the time is now.
You think if you got 2 6-year-olds from your school where you do your seed folks, that, and I'm talking about Blight because it was so sad to see these kids do that, say that. Do you think that they will have that same narrative today? From your title,
that's the point. So I did see another study, and I'm going to bring that question back up in a moment. I did see another study of Black and white kids in more recent years that are taking the study, and there is beginning to be a shift. And they were using these Barbie dolls, Black, one that looked Hispanic and one that looked white, and they were asking the same questions. And it was strange because the kids were more hesitant, and they didn't always choose the white doll. And I'm talking Black, white, and others as well. Not everybody. Some were choosing the Hispanic doll, the brown, and some were even choosing the Black doll. So I think there is a shift. There is a shift, but with our younger people. But I'm a baby boomer, and we are bringing that mess into our decision making as adults. Our children, though, are beginning to have a very different way of seeing that top. And that is why the oligarchs, I'm going to call them, are working so hard, because they know their children are not going to follow their patterns. They're not, they are too integrated into the larger system in public schools that it is going to be a whole different ballgame. So they have to shut this down right now. That's why they're working so hard to make sure we don't. One more comment and then we can close. My parents, Natalie Dennis Peak, my parents never purchased me dolls. I was given art, encyclopedias, books, and more. Never played with dolls. I purchased my girl dolls, and they were a mixture of different cultural backgrounds. I had dolls. I had the other stuff as well, but not, I love this. I love what she is saying. And I think that's probably, like you said, maybe generational, because in I was born in 59. So,
and as you grow, you do better. I was never a baby doll person, really, because I wasn't girly. But my daughter,
I was a dolly doll. I played until I was in 5th grade, and then when I got to 5th grade, I was looking around and none of the girls were talking about dolls, and I had to go home and say to my mom, "I don't want you to buy me any more dolls."
Yeah. 5th grade, still
I think I'm supposed to be playing with dolls.
So my I'm same way with my daughter, you know, but we did do Barbie dolls, and I was
Yeah.
trying to sit here and think of the ones that she used to do, but she used to love to go to Build-A-Bear. So I didn't mind doing that, but just baby dolls, no. But
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, we
it's
did.
an individual thing. That's good. All right,
We
Jeanette.
did. All right, so that's our show. Two candidates, one seat, the same standard applied to both. You heard where that stand. Now it's on you to pull the records and check the receipts yourself. But also, while you're doing that, evaluate yourself and the standard that you use to make decisions.
Yeah. Also, guys, please like this video. We are seeing that a lot of people are seeing the videos, they're just not liking it. So we will appreciate if you like it as well, and subscribe to the channel and share it with somebody in District 3 who needs to see this before August the 18th.
Yeah.
This is a very important race. I would like this midterm section, Jeanette, if the African American votes to be over 50%. Uh, we have to
Oh,
know, and we
wow.
have to understand. I'm
Wow.
saying to voters, we have to know, and we have to understand what we're in right now. I go to get gas the other week. We don't really pay attention to how it costs, but we were just talking about it. And I get mine from BJ's, right? And I
Mm-hmm.
get 93% because they only either have regular or this premium at 93%. And it was
Okay.
$4. I couldn't, and I was already on a half a tank, but I knew I was having a lot to do when I went and got the gas Thursday morning. And I said, I
Right.
just don't want to get out in the city and I need gas. So I said,
Yeah.
well, I'm going to get the gas. But $4 for,
Crazy.
and that's at BJ. So if you're at a regular gas station, it was 4.48.
Yeah.
So guys,
It's great.
come on,
It is great.
we gotta get our people out. Tomorrow is the last day to register to change your voter registration.
That's
If you
correct.
got to be registered with the party, if you're like Jeanette and I, we were independents, but we did this time went and filed back under Democrats. You got to do
Mm-hmm.
that tomorrow. Tomorrow's the last day. It is very important that we
Yep.
get right.
Got to get it right. Got to get it right, guys. So I want to thank you guys for staying with us. We are way over, and we did that intentionally. We wanted to make sure that both candidates got an opportunity to have that full half hour, give or take, to answer the questions for you. And then we wanted to bring this to you because this last segment was really about you reflecting on the standards you use to make decisions. And are you like those 3, 4, 5-year-olds who are choosing the white doll or the white attributes? Or how are you making decisions? And that's going to be a part of us changing and getting Black people off that bottom and start to climb. So thank you guys. We really appreciate your time tonight and
Good
your
show.
comments, guys. Thank you. Good night,
Thank you.
everyone.
Good night. We'll see you Wednesday.